My name's Logan Miller. I'm a graduating senior in just 2 weeks. Very excited, and I am an EDP major, Environmental Design, Policy, and Planning. So my project is an analysis of transit-oriented developments on Long Island. I really got into this because I've worked very closely with Dr. Charbonneau from the SoMAS department throughout my entire tenure at Stony Brook, and he's been researching the effects of transit-oriented development in Port Jeff, in Upper Port Jeff Station. So originally, I was considering working with him, but then I went on and thought about like all of Suffolk County as a whole. Um, so my project really is focusing on the government funded and government subsidized projects in Bayshore, in Ronkonkoma, and Lindenhurst. All three are done by the same developer and are being built in an effort to increase density and meet the sustainability goals of our current governor, Kathy Hochul. Um, in theory, transit-oriented development is fantastic for a community. It would revitalize the community economically, and it would bring in new blood, new people, and you know, it would also decrease traffic. While a lot of these communities have been really affected by COVID and they've been on a downturn. So there's a lot of upside to one of these projects. And I was really interested in seeing how they've actually been executed and whether or not they're meeting the goals and if they're still thinking about the necessities of the existing population versus just making it attractive for newcomers. Since my project was related to like government money and taxpayer dollars, I was really concerned with making sure it was used wisely and in the best interest of the people and communities that are being built upon. I really, throughout this, from the beginning, I talked to Dr. Charbonneau and I had context from Upper Port Jeff and how there were injustices occurring. And I really didn't want to come off biased while I was writing and researching. So I made sure to balance, telling the whole story and trying to not sound like I have hatred in my heart for this. But the whole project, from what I could tell, is really in effect trying to gentrify and turn lower income, blighted communities by the state into more vibrant, more economically viable communities. And the one major takeaway I want to have from my project is, you know, all development coming from an EDP background, all development has to be like economically viable, it has to be environmentally conscious, and it has to be equitable. And although sustainable developments like this, they provide significant economic upturn and in theory they lower reliance on fossil fuel like single use vehicles. um, I really don't the development is not equitable and often not serving the existing population. So I really want to hammer home the fact that while we need to make transit oriented developments more common, the way we're going about it right now is just inadequate. And the fact that only 10% of the housing that's being built has to be affordable housing is really an inadequate boundary, because what affordable housing actually means is up to the developer at like it's their choice. So when a population could have an area median or a per capita income of $45,000 per year, um, in order to afford an affordable income house, you'd have to make 90 to 100,000 a year in areas like Ronkonkoma and Bayshore, which is very distressing. I just want to make sure that whoever reads this paper and wherever it goes, I want to show the full story. It has its benefits, but it also has a lot of shortcomings. So this project is really important to me. I basically took it on as a passion project because I didn't need the credits. I didn't need to do research. I've already done research in the past, but I was really drawn to this topic. And before the end of the fall semester, I was applying to grad school and I was considering going down the urban planning route, but I ended up going to law school. That's where I'm going. So this doesn't necessarily have any impact on my future, but I hope to in the future continue doing research similar to this, look at it from more of the policy side of things. Like this is something, environmental justice is something I'm really interested in, and I'm going into environmental law. And I hope to, as I've been discussing with Dr. Charbonneau, my faculty mentor, I hope to continue writing with him and bringing in a different lens to the SoMAS like scape, so that we can make an actual change, because these things have significant impact on the people who are just living their everyday lives, and development needs to occur, and we need to build more sustainably, but we also need to think about those who will be affected.